Oh man, look at me, huh? Brand new shell, brand new habitat, or should I say, crabitat? Oh fuck you, that was funny. Hey, that's enough. I said that's enough! You know, it's funny. I like to balance which fanboys I cover because the last thing I want is people thinking I'm pro Xbox or pro PlayStation or even pro Nintendo. But goddamn, you PlayStation fanboys don't make it easy. Today, we're going to be looking at a change.org petition made by one No More PC Ports on Twitter. And I don't know about you guys, but he seems a little tilted. So before we get into the petition itself, I just want to do a quick scroll through this thread because there are some bangers in here. First up, we have fucking David Smansky, the developer of Dusk, responding to this petition.
Your petition is bad, and you should feel bad. I should feel bad for trying to save my company? If that's how you want to spin this, then yes.
Got him!
Care to explain why it's so bad?
Okay, this exchange is just hilarious to me because why would he care if you played his game? Just because you enjoyed a dev's game doesn't mean you are exempt from being clowned on when you make a stupid petition.
Thanks for this. I will be sharing, though not for the reason you'd hope. Any publicity is good publicity. Thank you.
Well, you say that now.
LOL. Code. We are trying to hashtag stop the PC ports. Sign the petition, please.
The only thing you're stopping with this petition is any chance to have sex with a woman. So I'd recommend you stop now before you embarrass yourself even more.
Accessibility and increase in access will never be a bad thing. More people playing more games will never be a bad thing. Code.
I couldn't agree more, friend. Unfortunately, explaining this to a fanboy is like trying to teach Shakespeare to a chocolate bar. Was this petition started by Phil? Why do they get me so much? Okay, enough with the foreplay. Let's get into the petition now, shall we?
Stop Sony from porting more PlayStation games to PC. PlayStation games belong only on PlayStation, period. That's what's plastered on every box of PlayStation exclusive games and on a ton of their advertisements, and that's how it should always be. PlayStation has had their most profitable generation ever, and yet they still choose to sully and tarnish the legacy of PlayStation by bringing their games to PC and soon mobile. This is nothing more than pure corporate greed.
No shit, Sherlock.
I know there is no such thing as too much money for these giant corporations, but no amount of money is worth disrespecting your IPs and the loyal community that got you to where you are.
Jesus Christ, we're only one paragraph in and I'm already reaching for the bottle. Come to me, Liquid. Whisper sweet nothings into my ear. How exactly is porting games to PC disrespecting the IPs? Is it because they run better? Because they look better? Or is it because you have your panties in a twist because you align fanboyism with a personality trait?
Sony is treating their core audience like second-class citizens, while the PC community that refused to support them for all these years enjoy the fruits of their labor and then some.
Ah, yes. Because the way Sony is treating its fans is exactly the way African Americans were treated in the early 1900s. What a tragedy! Quick, someone call the lawyers for human rights! Jim Ryan can't get away with this!
Not only did they refuse to support you, they hurled insults at console, games, and its user base for years, constantly referring to the games as walking simulators,
Citation, please.
movie games,
Citation for that, too.
and woke garbage.
The only PlayStation game that was referred to as woke garbage was The Last of Us 2, and that's because it was.
While also calling the community peasants, as if we were lowly imbeciles for supporting Sony and PlayStation.
No, buddy. We don't call you peasants because you simply support PlayStation. We call you peasants because you gobble their cock any chance you get. You berate and belittle other console owners because they don't like the same things as you, and fly into a rage anytime one of your games gets ported elsewhere, be it PC, mobile, or another console. Because you don't see Sony as a company. You see them as a friend, and you believe they care about you when in reality, you're nothing more than an open wallet to them. Which is true for every corporation, by the way.
Obviously, not all PC gamers are like that, but the vast majority unfortunately are.
Did somebody say citation?
So now these same people are undeservedly rewarded with the amazing experiences they ignorantly disrespected for years.
Jesus fucking Christ. Now at this point, you might be thinking to yourself, this can't get any worse, right? Well, it can. And it will.
Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan was wrong when he said there was no adverse reaction to bringing games to PC. There was! Nearly all PlayStation gamers are not okay with this decision.
Citation!
He was just so blinded by the potential revenue from this egregious move that he simply chose to ignore it. By the way, that potential revenue still pales in comparison to what the PlayStation console users deliver, as shown by the pitiful sales of Horizon Zero Dawn and Days Gone on Steam. That's probably due to the hundreds of thousands of PC gamers that pirated the games day one.
And here we are, the PC gamers are pirates argument. Fun fact, according to a survey by PC Gamer, only 35% of the 500,000 PC gamers that took the survey said they did in fact pirate games. Now, an idiot might look at this number at face value and say, you see, they don't buy games! But let's actually take a look into the article and see what reasons each person gave for pirating, shall we? Starting with age, you can see that younger respondents were more likely to pirate, with the likelihood decreasing by 5% as they got older, likely due to lack of income to purchase many games. Now, let's take a look at where in the world is pirating most common. As you can see here, Serbia and Romania have the highest rates, closing in on about 75%. After speaking to a pirate in Bulgaria, PC Gamer got an explanation as to why they pirate. The pirate explained that a new game on release day costs almost a third of a minimum wage earner's monthly income, telling us to imagine a new game costing around $400 here in the US. Looking at a list of average wages in Europe, many countries with high piracy rates sit near the bottom. Huh. Wasn't that interesting? Looks like we have decent evidence on causation of piracy in these countries. Next we have to ask, why do they pirate games? So let's go through this step by step. As you can see by this pie chart that asks if they think it's wrong to pirate games, the consensus is actually pretty mixed. 34.8% say yes, 22.7% say it depends on who made the game, 21.6% say yes, but I do anyway, whereas 19.5% say no. However, according to this chart that asks for reasons by age, it shows that gamers from their mid-20s to 30s say they pirated games to demo them. Almost 60% gave that reason. As for complaints about DRM or certain publishers never rose higher than 20%. Now comes the big question. Do pirates buy games? And as you can see here, more than 50% do, with 47.9% saying more than 50% of the time, and 7.5% saying always, whereas only 11.4% never do. Well, isn't that interesting? Not only do gamers on the most part don't pirate, but the majority of those that do almost always buy the game after they demo it. 44% of pirates said they stopped pirating after having an increase in income as well. And you know, if companies were truly scared about piracy, you'd think they would put out more demos, as they can be useful in determining if the port is good or if their PC can run it. So, no, buddy. It's not hundreds of thousands that pirate. Now, granted, this survey only pertains to about 50,000 Steam users, but I still think the data is interesting. Now, back to the petition.
Jim Ryan claims that PlayStation can become more than the console, but we all know that will never be the case. Millions of people agreed there is no better feeling in gaming than playing a great PlayStation exclusive on a PlayStation console, and trying to move to PC, mobile, and cloud will never replicate that feeling. Not even close.
You do realize we can run your games at higher frame rates and better visuals, right? Or did you forget how you ponies started begging Sony to make Horizon 60 FPS shortly after the launch of the game on Steam? If the experience is so good on console, why would you want a 60 FPS patch? Isn't the game perfect as is?
All this does is incentivize people not to join the amazing PlayStation community and never allows them to truly understand the feeling we all know and love.
The same community that dogpiles and harasses other gamers if they dare to criticize your precious third-person action-adventure game with stealth elements? The same community that spoils games to PC gamers simply because it's coming to Steam? That community? Yeah, I think I'm good.
Our argument for stopping the ports is not only an emotional one, but also a technical one that is that is grounded in reality. PlayStation games have always been the best because they were a tailor-made experience for one platform.
You serious?
Even games on the most powerful of PCs could never come close to the visual fidelity of certain PlayStation titles.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
Their biggest competitor even admitted it.
In case you were wondering, he was referring to this Reddit thread. Very credible.
Moving away from one platform will inevitably affect the quality we've grown accustomed to. We do not want our games to suffer due to being made to run on multiple platforms, like Cyberpunk 2077 unfortunately did.
So you would rather the devs suffer so your toy can be as shiny as it can be? Because you know Naughty Dog is among the worst companies when it comes to crunch, right? And I'm sorry, but I am so sick of fanboys saying that The Last of Us 2 is so groundbreaking when it's a run-of-the-mill, motorcycle revenge story that brings absolutely nothing new to the table, except for the animation equivalent of this. Metal Gear Solid 1 for the PS1 was more groundbreaking than that hot pile of garbage. If you want to play a better PlayStation exclusive, go play Ghost of Tsushima. That game is gorgeous, and more importantly, fun to play. As for the Cyberpunk comment, you say this as if it's purely due to the fact that it was multi-platform that it released in the state that it was. And not the fact that the devs had to make it run on the base PS4 and Xbox One, machines that were very clearly too underpowered to handle the game's scope and size. If the game was just released for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X, the only thing that would have changed would probably just be the technical state the game was in at launch. But Cyberpunk 2077 would still be Cyberpunk 2077. It wouldn't suddenly turn into a vastly different game. Just like PlayStation games won't suddenly turn into pixel art side-scrollers just because they're released on PC. Although at this point, I'd welcome that, because it'd at least be something different than your average Sony template.
Please do not go down this route and become like Xbox. They are in last place and nearly irrelevant for a reason. No offense to Microsoft. The Xbox 360 was successful because it capitalized on the traditional means that have always worked. And look at what happened when they tried to stray from that path. Instead, you should emulate Nintendo, no pun intended. The Switch is on pace to reach PS4 sales and possibly outsell it because it followed the same tried and true formula PlayStation did last gen. That being, release great exclusives exclusively for your great console. It's not rocket science. So, to Sony/PlayStation/Jim Ryan, we implore you to rethink this decision. Please remember, even though you are a massive multi-billion-dollar corporation, it's not all about the money. You have an unrivaled legacy to uphold and a loyal fan base that greatly respects you. Do not trade that in for a measly short-term pittance that would ruin that reputation forever. The PlayStation community is more than willing to forgive this lapse of judgment because we believe it is not too late to reverse this decision. We hope this reaches you, and thank you in advance.
Jesus Christ, that's it. We're done! We made it to the end of the petition. Christ, the entire thing just reeks of desperation and pleading for something that, frankly, isn't going to change. PlayStation games are going to be on PC from now on. Deal with it. Or at the very least, grow up past the age of 5. That's it for me. I'll see you all in the next video.